This is our Branches of the Government video project. Shout out to my homeboy, Scotty D. First, we're going to be talking about the executive branch. The executive branch is all about presidents. And today we'll be using the Orange Man himself as our example. Donald Trump is our commander-in-chief, which means he has control over our armies and military and stuff. He can grant pardons. He can grant reprieves and pardons for federal offenses. All funny business aside, the president can convene Congress in special sessions, receive ambassadors, take care that laws be faithfully executed, wield his so-called executive power, and appoint officials to lesser offices. Alright, Mr. Dodson said that we needed to have direct text from the Constitution, so here it is! March of 1796, George Washington invoked his executive privilege. In 1804, Electoral College electors cast their separate ballots for choices. 1947, the CIA and NSC are created. 1951, the 22nd Amendment limits the president to only 2 terms. So the president wants to run more than 2 terms. Got him. Nope, you can't do that, buddy.
Darn it. I wanted 100 4-year terms.
1967, the 25th Amendment is created so that the vice president can take place of the president if he is incapacitated or killed.
Meme. Picture of a pentagon, and then it says hexagon, and then octagon, and then Obama is gone. And a picture.
There are some current issues the executive branch is facing. Questions such as, should the president have certain war powers, such as the ability to declare war? Should the president have availability to use social media? Should the president have the nuclear bomb launch codes? And should the executive branch be changed to have more or less power? Perhaps the biggest issue facing the executive branch in this day and age is widespread mistrust of the president. We believe that the power of the executive branch should be smack dab in the middle of the legislative and judicial branches. This is because we don't want one person being the most powerful branch, but we don't want them to be meaningless either. We also don't want a president to be able to do this.
Asking you right now, do you still stand by your pledge made in 2008 to provide a pony for every American?
Yes, I do, sir. Free ponies for all Americans, one of the overlooked issues in America today. My Free Pony platform is, of course, a jobs creation program. It will create lots and lots of jobs once we switch over to a pony-based economy. We'll also lower our dependence on foreign oil. We'll also be able to turn all that pony poop into methane gas and wonderful compost, so we'll be able to up our soil that is being depleted by agrochemicals.
I have no idea what's going on over here, but it looks absolutely amazing.
According to Article 1, Section 3, the legislative branch has a power to try all impeachment. Innocent people, get out of here. Avada-kedavra. Bam. Stupefied. Oh! And in the Article 1, Section 3, it also says the Senate can choose officers. I choose you to be an officer. Yeah. Now, the legislative branch can they pass laws
Article 1, Section 9 says legislative branch originates spending on bills. And Article 1, Section 10 says they can approve treaties that the president proposes. Alright, now for the history of the legislative branch. By the way, I forgot to mention that the legislative branch is made up of the House and Senate. So don't mark us off on that, Mr. Dotson. So the founding fathers agreed to make a
bicameral
legislative branch, which means 2 chambers. Also, the Congress is responsible for many famous law creations, such as Louisiana Purchase, 13th Amendment, ratification, Pure Food and Drug Act, and so on. So some current issues that the legislative branch is facing right now. Pretty sure everyone's going to talk about this, but it's that 80% of the people in Congress are white, 80% are male, and 92% are Christian. Pretty wacky.
In terms of power, the legislative branch should be the most powerful because it makes the laws which dictate how the people in the country act. The country is made of the people, so naturally the branch that controls the people should be the most powerful.
They are pouring generic brand cereal while you are eating a $44 breakfast. But we don't hesitate to spend taxpayer money on a trinket like that.
Alright guys, I was doing some research.
I was searching around the internet.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And it turns out the founding fathers didn't really define the powers of the judicial branch very clearly because they didn't want to.
Alright, so like we know the powers of the executive and legislative branch, but what about the judicial branch?
No.
Judicial branch tries all crimes except impeachment according to Article 3, Section 2.
Alrighty, for the brief history of the judicial branch, we're starting all the way back in 1787, the Constitutional Convention. And then February 2nd, 1790, there's the first Supreme Court session. And then skipping forward to 1810, there's the case of Fletcher versus Peck. They basically here they ruled that the Georgia legislature has violated the Constitution. For the first time, the court declares a state law to be unconstitutional. Wow. March 3, 1911, district courts to create a more efficient federal judiciary. Congress votes to abolish the U.S. Circuit Courts and transfer their jurisdiction to district courts. April 2nd, 1982, U.S. Court of Appeals. In an effort to further streamline the appeals process and to relieve growing pressure on the Supreme Court, Congress establishes a National Court of Appeals defined by its jurisdiction rather than by geography. This U.S. Court of Appeals will screen appeal petitions and decide cases before they reach the Supreme Court. Alright, the main current issue in the judicial branch is the fact that it's impossible to be completely unbiased.
Dobby, I'm sorry, but you're going to be found guilty for disobeying master and all kinds of other magic offenses.
But Dobby must protect Master. Dobby must protect Master at all costs.
Alright, the soybean paste soup I had this morning was like really rough on my stomach, and I'm not in that good of a mood. So I think you're going to need to shut up right quick and go back to your elf place, because I don't like elves.
Alright, and finally, we believe that the judicial branch should be the least powerful branch because, well, to quote Alexander Hamilton, the judicial branch lacks the power of the executive branch and the political passions of the legislature.